Okay, so I'm going to try something new here. I'm going to try and make a little tutorial video. I mean, we're all pretty new to Age of Sigmar. It's been almost a year, but we don't play as many games as we get older as we used to. So I just wanted to explore some things. Plus, with the new FAQs out, some minor changes to the way we've been intuitively doing things. For example, units that have already piled into combat cannot move out of the way of other models, so you have to be very careful. And I'm going to explore this more in other videos, but this is just a start of some moving and charging tactics, mostly charging pile in for this video. So we got a unit of 21 Plague Bearers. They're a Horde style unit. They're fairly resilient, especially resilient against shooting. And then you have the 5-man unit of Stormcast Eternals and a champion with Grand Blade. You know, uh, you know, it might seem like a lot of guys versus, but a fairly elite unit. They're about 6.5, 7 inches apart. This is just to demonstrate an average roll plus average positioning. If you're planning to get into combat. So, the Stormcast Eternal player set up his unit like this, kind of in a V, versus the big blob type of Plague Bearer unit. So assuming a 7-inch charge on the Plague Bearers, you get something like this. You know, moving to try and get as many models as possible. You got to remember that that's the example with the Plague Bearers here. Because they're a horde unit, they need to just get as many attacks as they can. So that's the charge move. Now you got to remember you get that extra 3 inches pile in. So here we go. Now it seems like a formation of Stormcast didn't do much, but if you look at the back row, you're leaving out 7 Plague Bearers, which is a third of their attacks. Which brings it down to, with average rolling, maybe, discounting buffs and stuff like that, you'd lose a Stormcast Eternal here. And then, of course, in return with the Grand Blade, and some minor attacks, you might knock down about 4 in return on average rolling. Now, for a small elite unit, keeping this ratio of, 4 wounds caused to 2 is really important. So, for example, if you were in a different formation, which I'll show next, you stand a chance to lose more guys if you have more guys attacking you. It's kind of intuitive, but the positioning makes all the difference. So, much like old Warhammer, you'd have your guys in a lineup versus the guys in a lineup. So this elite unit will suffer more, as you see here. So that's just a 7-inch charge move. You can already see it's getting a little ridiculous. Now, boom. You're able to get everyone within 1 inch, which means on average you lose about 2 guys, which in return means you're losing half of your normal attacks. Like the Grand Blade's still strong, but you're already going to be down, maybe even a kill. So your ratio goes from complete flip. They're causing more wounds now, and that's really not good for an elite unit like Stormcast. So we've seen them on the receiving end of a charge. Now here's an example of some counterintuitive charging. I decided to leave out the straight line up charge because it's kind of implied. Yes, you'll strike first. You'll kill 4. But if you do the straight line up charge, you end up with the exact same pile-in mapping as the straight line charge for the Plague Bearers, which, again, gives them an extra 3 attacks or so, which does leave the odd chance that they'll kill 2 instead of 1 kind of thing. So anyway, so here's something that's not as intuitive. So you'd think, take advantage of that move, you get your guys right in the middle kind of thing. But if you charge off to the side, now remember, you only need 1 model within a half inch. So as you can see here, barely making combat, but using that full distance of the 7 to move as far to the other side as possible. You pile in, Now, even here, this pile in is optional. If you felt like moving him forward may have given them too many attacks, you could have actually just not piled in with the other models, like on this page. Just pile in these two, the back two, over to the left, and then you probably will pull even less models in. So there's an example. You kill 4, this odd guy still pulls in 6. You could have potentially reduced that by about 3 or 4, because these guys still could have made it around the side, which your 2 attacks versus their 4, it may have been worth the trade, because once again, elite unit, you're pumping out a few attacks, you only need to get a few through, and you have the champion with the high power weapon here. So that's one example. Now, suppose you have support. Now, this is one thing where Age of Sigmar, you'd think there's no facing, that flanking isn't a big deal. It's actually really huge. So you can't break coherency even when piling in. So that's going to come important here. So yes, I did a straight line. This is a total straight line. But taking advantage of the charge rules, the Stormcasts end up forming a little kind of triangle, and the Lord Celestin just picks a guy on the end. So now, combat, you have to do one unit at a time. Lord Celestin's going to attack. He kills 4 or 5. That's average-ish. You could get lucky with the intolerant damage and blow up a ton of them, or you could miss a bunch of your attacks. But on the charge, that Tempesto's hammer is really potent. So there you go. Killed a couple. Here's the big thing. So now he has to go. They pile in. This leaves this string of about 4 or 5 plague bearers that cannot attack. Then you have a few that pile in on the Lord Celestin. Many people would consider those attacks wasted because he has a 3-up armor save. And then you have some guys over here. Assume they even, about lucky rolling or odds, you still have 1, 2, 3, 4 champion attacks, plus these guys in the back. You got about 8 to 10 attacks, maybe, if they're lucky. They kill a guy. Then, of course, you pile in, kill another 3 or 4. I chose to give the Stormcast kind of a bad turn on them, just kind of to show you the effect here of how much losing they have. Sorry, how much attacks are lost just by being flanked. So anyways, that's it. Quick little tactics video. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.